Sanson, Christina Ortiz, and Lena Ocasio, veterans of politics. We're going to have a special 90-minute show today. We're going to end it at 3:30. We're going to have a special guest. He's been on before, Thomas James Knickmeyer. He was a former courtroom marshal for both the Family Court Division and the Regional Justice Center. He's going to blow the whistle off some of the corruption here in the Clark County Judicial System. We're also doing a Facebook Live. If you feel that we have it upside down or sideways, don't worry about it, folks, because we try to put it every which way and it still shows up upside down on the PC. So it has nothing to do with us at all. It has everything to do with the Facebook technology. But before we get to our guests, and we're going to take a commercial break before we get to our guests, I want to talk about stuff that transpired in the past week. For one, I'm back from Hawaii.
Yes, congratulations, Grandpa.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Second grandchild.
Well, in Hawaii, that's a nice place. At least they don't live in like Minot, North Dakota.
And you want to know something?
Let's go back to
I take the plane from Honolulu. It was 11:30 on Christmas Eve p.m. And I'm in tank top and shorts, flip flop.
Do you have your Hawaiian shirt on?
No.
Just his tank top. He's got to show his guns.
Yeah, got to show the guns. So we connect in Seattle, and my God, it was cold.
Was it raining?
It was
really
freezing in Seattle, and then there's a construction at the terminal, so we had to walk down and go to the flight line, walk out into the flight line,
walk on the flight
and to
line?
walk
Wow.
up into the plane.
Well then.
Yes. And I have look at this, I have my Pearl Harbor.
I like that.
Pearl Harbor t-shirt on, or polo
It's a
shirt.
polo.
It's very nice.
So, but you know what? I also brought you ladies some stuff. Yeah, so.
Aww.
I know.
Thank
So are these still luck charms?
Yeah, it's not a lay, but it'll do the job.
Well, I don't need a lay. Thank you.
And Mom and Baby are good?
Mom and baby are good, so.
What's the name?
Her name is Emery Noel.
Oh, congratulations.
Last name is Tuckett, but they take the daddy's name. So.
Well, that's how it is.
I wish it was Sanson, but I can't do that too.
Well,
my son-in-law.
maybe the third's a charm when she'll have a boy.
But there's a lot of stuff that's happening in Vegas since I've been back, and one of them is District Court Judge Stephanie Miley being arrested for domestic violence.
I saw that.
Yeah.
I saw the mugshot. I read the report on the Review Journal. Allegedly,
And I talked to you, and I think we had the same story that she punched
allegedly punched her son in the car.
Slap punch, made him bleed.
And
While he was driving the vehicle, and they had their 8-year-old. She had her 8-year-old son in the back seat. So isn't that child endangerment as well?
Oh, I didn't read that part
Yeah,
of
the
it.
8-year-old son was in the back seat. Me, I've never did that before because whoever's driving have your life in their hands. I've never hit somebody
while they're driving.
I mean, isn't
that putting your own life in danger?
And my kid in the back seat, although that's my kid too, but I'm more worried about the little one in the back. I would have told them to pull over.
To smack them?
Yeah.
No matter how pissed off. I mean, it's funny because I was talking to my mom about this. She was like, "So what? She hit her son, right?" She was like, "So and he probably deserved it."
But
that's but then when you read the story more, it said something about when they got home, she started pretending, started screaming so the neighbors would hear.
And acted like she was the victim.
Like she got hurt. And then when I told my mom that part, again, this is all allegedly, she was like, "Oh yeah, that's bad." No, I would have been like, "Yeah, I smacked you in the face because you were acting a fool or you were disrespecting your mama or whatever it is, whatever it is."
Right.
She she wanted to hit him. Not supposed to hit him, but I would have waited till the car was in park.
Right. When you get home.
Yeah, and I wouldn't even act like I did it that it was his fault. I would have took it. I was like, yeah.
Right, and that's how my
mom called me whatever. And
my mom said the same thing. And
that's just me. But
was she drunk? Did the report say anything about her drinking?
Well, look at the mugshot. I don't know, but
we all look a mess though when we're not. I mean, her picture in her her robe and everything is all professional. It's been retouched. She looks beautiful, and then her mugshot. But it's like that's probably how mine would look too if they arrested me.
Yeah, mine would probably look worse.
You got it.
I don't think they don't retouch those pictures.
No, there's no Photoshop.
They don't add any color so that you look like you.
They don't have the bag removals. No.
No.
But
Take
you
off
know,
the extra
but you know, she is a judge, and she's not just any judge.
Right.
Right.
She's a district court judge,
Right.
and they have to put themselves in a higher standards.
Well, they're supposed to.
They're
Right,
supposed
they
to.
uphold the law.
They're the ones that judge us. You know, the us. So
Right.
So if you're going to judge us, you have
You
to
have
be
to
beyond
be-
reproach.
Exactly.
You have to be.
The bar's a little bit higher for her than us laymen.
maybe
Yes.
she needs to go and take some yoga classes and
Some anger management.
learn how to breathe.
Or like you said, she needs to learn to just wait a few more minutes till they got home,
Yeah.
and then backhand
And
them.
then
Right?
backhand
If your
them.
son acting a fool, moms, probably deserves them, but not while he's driving.
But you know, it is what it is. But you know, and my whole watching Nevada politics since 1998.
Right.
I was alive at least.
Even if she comes out of this and all charges are
She's
dismissed,
pretty much done.
she's done.
Right.
She's done. Even if
Whoever's
she-
running against her is going to win.
It's gonna
Exactly.
slam that mugshot all over the place.
Yeah.
I mean, the mugshot went to the UK. Come on now.
It was in the UK.
It wasn't in the UK.
BBC News.
What?
It was a New York Post. She went national. I thought she was running for president of the United States.
Right?
I didn't see it on the judge report though.
No, I saw it on BBC News.
Wow.
But and you know
Because it's
and
Vegas, that's why. If it
Exactly.
was some podunk town in, I don't know, Arizona or somewhere,
North Dakota.
nobody would have
Nobody would have
picked
backed
it up.
them
But it's
up.
Vegas.
but another thing I wanted to talk about before I ask you ladies about your rants is that we went to family court this Friday and we observed
Love that.
and
You got a
the-
police report over
the
there?
one of the
Oh,
marshals,
interesting.
Sharonda D. Newkirk,
It's just a little.
decided that she didn't like my attitude because I confronted her about locking the door, denying public
How did we
access.
confront her, Steve?
Just like you're not supposed to lock the door, denying public access. What are you doing?
Was the case sealed?
No, case wasn't sealed. There was no
Oh, then
motions.
anyone can go in.
There was no
that's
motions
all
for a closed case, and she knew I was behind the door because I was talking to the JEA for Judge Pomerantz, and she kicks the door in, hits me with the door,
So she harassed you and assaulted you.
harassed and assaulted me. So I filed a police report on a marshal. Whoever filed a police report on the marshal? I did. So
Producer has.
John has.
I hope they put
They do
assault
something?
charges on her.
Was this videotaped? Is there?
Well, there's a camera right above that door.
So they
can
can-
Yeah, and I also mentioned it in my police report that there's a camera right above the door.
Oh, I wonder if that video is going to be deleted. I don't want
edited.
or edited. Oh, those missing 30 seconds.
Yeah, or a cat was walking by.
Exactly.
I wouldn't trust it.
I don't trust anything.
And you know, we got the Valentine's Day ball. We're going to be kicking in the motion, and Christina is the co-chair for that Valentine's Day ball.
We just had one.
2020.
Oh, I see. Okay, I was like, wait, we're having another
We're
one?
getting ready. And we also started the Veterans in Politics Foundation. It's going to be a 501c3.
Awesome.
So, and you're part of that. You're,
I am.
You're one of the officers
I'm on there.
So,
Uh,
I think I'm done for my rants. How about you guys?
Right? I
That
feel
was a
really
lot.
excited to be part of the charter and part of the committee. We have long titles and plates on our
I know. This is going to be a bit, 2019 is going to be busy.
2019 is gonna be
exciting
busy.
year. I'm excited.
2019, we're gonna be doing the municipal elections, and there's two mayors running for re-election.
Who's running?
Wood Rodbury in Boulder City and Caroline Goodman in Las Vegas, and a bunch of city council races, and there's a few mini races. And then we're going to start getting ready for the
2020 elections.
2020 elections, presidential year, and all 52 district court
Can we
judges
say something about
is
that?
going to be up for
with
re-election.
But what?
The government shutdown and the wall.
The wall. What do you think?
I think there's a lot of merit to the wall. I think
Mm-hmm.
that without borders, you're not a country. I think that if you can't define your borders, you can't have secure borders, then you can't call yourself a sovereign nation.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that there needs to be reformation within our immigration law.
System itself.
Absolutely.
Right.
It sucks. And I'm not saying
And
that.
it's too bad that the president was forced to have 800,000 federal workers don't get a check. I mean, it's
Exactly.
very
It
sad for them
sucks.
as well, because
That does suck.
I wouldn't want not to get a check.
Exactly, I wouldn't want not to be paid, but I also think that we have to make a statement that we say we are a sovereign nation, these are our borders, and this is how we define them. Why can't we define them?
No, because they want open borders.
Well, then they can go.
And there's another caravan coming from Honduras.
Yeah, and I mean,
And aren't there some MS-13 gang members too coming along the way?
and I just kind of, you know,
And
you
that,
see
that
about.
police officer, I think he came out of California.
California.
Was killed by an illegal.
Yeah, and I
You
just,
know.
you know.
And the police officer was
An immigrant from India, wasn't he from India?
Yeah.
Fiji, I think, and he came
Oh,
here
Fiji.
legally and became a police officer.
Right, and I think there's something to be said. I'm not saying that there's not other ways, but I am saying that we should have the right to know who's in our nation and why they're here. And so,
You have anything?
I concur. I was gonna say the same thing about the border and the government shutdown and
Okay.
everyone hating on Trump. He's not visiting the troops on Christmas.
Yeah.
And then a few hours later,
He was already there.
yeah, well, because I mean that takes planning and,
And it
everything. Like
takes
he didn't go.
about 14 hours just
Yeah,
to get
he
there.
didn't go early enough, I guess.
Not mention the logistics and
Yeah, the safety.
security.
Yeah.
yes, no.
Which I thought was interesting. I'm like,
Well, you know what? They're all trying to beat him up, and no, it doesn't matter what he does. They're still gonna beat him up. So.
You're
I know.
damned if you do, you're damned if
He
you
could
don't.
be giving food to the homeless, and somebody said, well, he's only doing
It's
that
not- no, it's-
for his image.
or it's not gluten-free food. Look, he's giving.
Right, he's
It's
making
not
them
organic.
sad. Yeah.
You can't give it to them. Look what he's doing. I know. They would totally criticize him on anything.
I always kind of think that you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. So follow your own instincts, and if you
Right.
believe you're doing right, move on.
But you know what? I'm ready to take a commercial break. And
Get our guest on, because I'm sure he
has
has a lot to
a
say.
lot to say, so we got to get him on so he can say it all.
All right, I'm ready.
All right, folks. This is Steve Sanson, Christina Ortiz, and Lino Casio, Veterans in Politics. Don't go away, folks. We're going to bring you the star of the show, Thomas James Knickmeyer, former Clark County Courtroom Marshal. We'll be right back.
Good afternoon, this is Jim Jonas, host of Veterans in Politics. We are a video and internet radio show, live every Saturday from 2 to 3 p.m. on worldwide digital broadcasting television. Our mission is to educate, organize, and awaken our veterans and their families to select, support, and intelligently vote for those candidates whom would help create a better world to protect ourselves from our own governments in a culture of corruption, and to be the political voice for those in other groups who do not have one. So listen to us live every Saturday from 2 to 3 p.m. on worldwide digital broadcasting television. Or if you miss that opportunity, it's okay. You can listen and watch our archive broadcast by going to www.www.dvtv.com or simply Google Veterans in Politics and it will link you right over. It will also give you a list of our upcoming shows, so you can do some research and call in to ask questions. The number is 702-685-8380. If you truly want to be informed and make educated voting decisions, Veterans in Politics is the place to go. We are nonpartisan, have no agenda but to help you get the information you need to make an educated voting decision. Remember, the person who doesn't educate themselves and exercise their right to vote is only adding to corruption in government. Don't be that person. Listen every Saturday from 2 to 3 p.m. to Veterans in Politics. For more information regarding VIPI, visit www.veteransinpolitics.org.
Folks, we're back. Veterans in Politics. This is Steve Sanson, Christina Ortiz, and Lino Casio with Veterans in Politics. We have Thomas James Knickmeyer, former Clark County Courtroom Marshal. Mr. Knickmeyer, how you doing?
I'm doing fine. Thanks for having me once again.
Not a problem, sir. Tell us about you. Quick bio.
Quick bio. Well, 20 years Clark County Marshal.
When did you leave the Marshal's office?
2013.
Okay.
Okay, and it wasn't voluntarily.
Okay.
So, just recently got divorced.
Okay. Congratulations, is it?
Oh, no, I wouldn't call it congratulations.
Divorce is never good.
There's
And-
never anything pretty about
and-
it.
I had a party when I
Oh,
second.
gosh.
Yeah, well, that's you, Steve.
Divorce is never a good thing.
I had a divorce party.
It's not it wasn't, I ain't happy about it, but it just happens.
Right.
Right, so, other than that, I'm going to be relocating out of the state,
Okay.
January 1st.
Okay.
And I'm going
You leaving us?
permanently.
All
I've
right.
had enough this time.
Oh.
The economy should, my house value should go up then.
Yeah.
So let me know so I
Because
can
he's
appraise it.
leaving?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're so mean today, Steve.
Well, I've
You're
been,
sassy.
I can't gain, good employment here because I've been blackballed by the
Gotcha.
courts.
Gotcha.
Where are you relocating?
I'd rather keep that to myself.
Yeah.
On the down low, so that hopefully he can get a good job where he's relocating to without
Absolutely.
the haters being haters.
That's
Yeah,
right.
I don't want you to get blackballed in your
Right.
state.
And other than that, everything's good. I'm kind of happy. I'm looking forward to a new fresh
A new
start.
chapter.
Right.
A new beginning.
All right, let's get right into it now, because I heard
Does he know the
everybody-
judge that was arrested?
Do you know the judge that was arrested?
I know Stephanie Miley very well.
And your take?
I think that she made a bad decision. Striking your child while he's behind the wheel of a car is
Dangerous.
stupidity at the highest level. Because if that car would have veered off and hit someone
Killed
else,
somebody, yeah.
right.
It's on.
Or killed your 8-year-old
For
in
the
the
most
backseat.
part, Judge Miley's a good person. She just got caught up in a bad situation. But I don't know, I wasn't there.
Right,
I'm not gonna prejudge her,
right.
but striking your child behind the wheel of a car is really stupid.
How about acting like it was their fault?
That's even worse. I mean, that's worse.
If
Right?
I'm gonna hit my kid, at least I would say
Own
that.
it, right?
All
Own
right.
You're
it.
gonna be a fool. You're gonna know mom said you're
So
a
you're-
Corporal punishment, I don't have a problem with corporal punishment
Right.
as long as
I
it's,
don't either.
But he's
Not-
18, 19 though.
So?
but it's not,
Jim, you under my roof.
but when
You
it
know,
reaches the point of abuse, there's where you have to draw the line.
Right.
Because when I was a child, I got the belt.
You got the belt, I got the hanger.
Switch? What about the switch?
When I got the belt,
Yeah.
and I learned real quick what to do.
I think that hanger stopped at 16 because I started to say like, enough,
At 16.
enough,
Yeah.
you know?
Well, I feel sorry for Judge Miley.
So your
I think
interaction
she's-
with her has been positive
Oh, yeah,
in the courtroom?
she's a hardworking judge.
Behind the scenes in the courthouse has all
Yeah,
been...
it's just her personal life that
Really?
is a mess.
I heard that she, I
Her
heard that,
husband's an alcoholic,
Oh.
okay, who was charged with domestic
I don't think he
violence.
drinks anymore, by the way.
But why stay with someone?
If he does, I
No.
would.
But I heard that Judge Miley, and along with some other judges, not leaving her all by herself, is that they leave the courthouse 11:30, 12 o'clock.
Oh, that's common practice. If they're not in trial, common practice is they're gone. They-
Part-time judges that make
You mean it- wait,
$200,000 a year.
11 at night or 11 in the afternoon?
Morning.
Afternoon. Right.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
need to like start working like this, Lena.
yeah.
If they don't have a trial, normally they'll hear their morning calendar. If they don't have anything pressing like a judge's meeting or something, they're out.
But you know something with that, just like what you just said. They leave 11:30, 12 o'clock. They don't have a trial. Well, am I gonna mess up your look or something?
You're gonna hit me.
But yet they want 15 more district court judges. That just blows me away.
Yeah, the way the system's run is ridiculous.
And they make $200,000
Yeah,
plus
they
a
make
year.
bank. They make good money.
Taxpayers' dollars. And that means the JEA and the Marshal is still getting paid too, and the law clerk, right?
Right. And some of the bailiffs, including myself, the judge told me, if I'm not here, you don't need to be here. I would stay sometimes, and then I would,
Just leave because...
I would exit the courthouse because there was nothing for me to do.
Shouldn't they be...
And I had the blessing of my judge. He didn't care.
Right. But shouldn't they be working on future cases if they don't have anything on the calendar that day?
Every judge has their own, that department is their domain. They run it how they see fit. Okay, some judges take advantage of the system. Like Judge Denton, he's the hardest working judge in the building, by far. And he's a civil judge. Probably one of the most competent judges.
That's
He
what
knows
we need.
his
We need
cases.
hard-working judges.
Yeah, that
Oh,
know
yes.
their cases
Oh,
Before
But
you even come in front of them.
I want to ask you something, Mr. Knickmeyer. What the heck is this?
well, that's a photo taken at family court by a marshal with a hairdryer posing as a radar detector.
What?
As people were coming, employees
So
coming into
you're
work.
saying this is a courtroom marshal
Well, that's probably an administrative marshal.
who has no jurisdiction to give tickets, right?
That's not their job function.
It's not their job function.
So they don't have any jurisdiction to give tickets.
And to boot, he's holding a hairdryer
Is that a
pretending
joke?
to be a radar gun
Right.
Is that a joke?
to give people
No.
a ticket.
No,
Wait,
That's real.
that's real. That
was it
that
April
did
Fool's
happen.
Day?
No, that
No,
did
that
happen.
happened.
Wow.
Why?
Family court, the family court marshals, under the guidance of Lieutenant Steve Rushfield at the time,
Mm-hmm.
had a culture of misbehavior, to put it mildly, unprofessional conduct,
Right.
the classic beatdown. If you gave any lip, you caught a beating. If they thought you were some sort of threat,
Right.
you were treated
So it's kind of
unprofessionally.
like a frat house.
Well, it was. I've been gone for 5 years now, so I don't really know how they operate now. But as you mentioned, that little female marshal,
Oh, the one he
What-
got a police, he filed a police report
yeah,
against?
her unprofessional conduct, that's throughout the whole courthouse. Because they take their direction from their judges. And the judges at family court, they don't think very highly of you.
That's good. That means I'm doing my job.
Well,
Steve's not trying to, Steve's not there to make friends.
Yeah, if they all like me, that means I'm not doing a doggone
Right.
thing.
right. And you're exposing some of the
Corruption and incompetence?
incompetence.
Lack of knowledge of the law.
Well, I would
Bias.
definitely say that's bias, definitely. You're, like I said, you're not viewed as an outstanding citizen. You're there to
You're there to roll
pinpoint
up
their
feathers.
mistakes and their
Right.
abuses. And there are more abuses than Carter has Liverpool's.
Speaking of pinpointing abuses and mistakes, now I want to ask you something because there is a rumor, and I'm going to leave it like that until you could clarify the rumor. There's a rumor going around saying that the chief executive officer of the Clark County Court District embezzled $200,000 of taxpayers' money. Is this rumor true?
Well,
And what do you got to say about that?
from the sources I hear it from, which they were pretty close to Mr. Grierson at the time, who worked underneath him. They said that he misappropriated over $200,000
Okay.
to start his own counseling agency, which can be found on the Secretary of State's website.
Is the counseling agency Horizon Family Therapy and Wellness?
I believe that could be it. There was
That had Gretchen Grierson in it and Steve Grierson as the secretary. How about Connect Two Children Foundation that has Steve Grierson as treasurer, director, and they have a David Milliett, Milliette, and a Chris O'Connor as a secretary. Or how about, there's another one, MIGRI Enterprises Inc. that had Steve Grierson as secretary, David Milliett, MILLETTE as president, and Michelle Milliett, same name, as treasurer. Is that the counseling you were talking about?
I believe so. All I know is that Chris O'Connor, who worked directly under Steve Grierson, would be at work on county time using county resources to facilitate his counseling activities.
So you're saying that this person is working on county time, drawing a salary from taxpayers, but doing private work for Steve Grierson on his counseling business?
Correct.
Is that what you're saying?
Correct.
So is this person drawing another check for doing the private work as well?
That I don't know.
So
But she's secured.
we as the county are paying for other businesses other than what we actually are paying them for.
Yeah, Grierson is a crook.
And what's his title again?
He's the CEO
CEO?
of the courts.
Right.
They tried to terminate him because the judges were aware of it.
Okay.
And they tried to terminate him, but somebody, either the county manager or someone on the commission, one of the commissioners, backed him up and made him a county employee so that the judges couldn't terminate
So he
him,
could be untouchable.
basically.
How did he land this job of CEO? And what's his background, by the
And
way?
Well, I
what
believe-
is the CEO of the court for everybody who may not know that?
He's the administrator.
Chief Executive Officer,
So he's the administrator of the family court?
Clark County.
Clark County.
The Eighth Judicial District,
Oh, okay.
The
which
entire
includes,
Which includes the family
court
division.
He's the head honcho.
and,
Wow.
and the RJC.
What is Mr. Grierson's background?
From what I understand, his education is in counseling.
So that explains the counseling business that he has on the side.
That would make sense.
Shouldn't the CEO of the Eighth Judicial Court be a public administrator background or a business management background or a finance background? How does,
Public administration would be probably the
Ideal.
best
Right.
schooling that you can get to work in the government agency and be, at the top of the heap.
Right.
But he knew people.
He has a
knew-
counseling background,
Right.
and he knew, who do you know? Who do you think he knows?
He's tight with Art Ritchie, family court judge, Art
Chief, is
Ritchie.
he chief judge still?
No, he was,
He was chief judge at one point.
he was chief judge, and he's the one that brought in Steve Grierson and gave him that position.
So he brought Steve Grierson in.
Right.
My understanding from another source is that Judge Ritchie didn't know Steve Grierson until Judge Ritchie became a judge. That's not true.
No, from what I understood, that they were college buddies.
That they were college buddies.
Yeah, they go back to their college days.
How did you get that information?
Through a source who
Okay.
was close to the courts. I can't mention the name because,
Right.
What you're saying is that any case that Art Ritchie or Judge Ritchie wants, that Grierson just says okay, or if he doesn't want to do the case, then Grierson says okay.
well, Grierson works, he works at the pleasure of the judges, but he doesn't anymore because he's protected by the county commission.
Mm-hmm.
They're the only ones that can end his tenure with the courts now. Before it was, Chuck Short, who was a long-standing court
remember
administrator. Yeah, he was a great guy. He worked directly for the judges. Whatever any particular judge wanted, he would make sure that that judge received it.
Okay.
When Grierson came on board, he had the same, he was under the same guidelines as Chuck Short. But when the judges found out that he misappropriated $200,000 out of the security budget, I believe it was, they tried to have him removed.
So Steve Grierson has access
To fund.
to take out. That's a large amount of money without a second or third party or sign-in on there.
Balances.
He could go and take this money out by himself.
There's no
Well,
oversight.
obviously there are other people that are involved with it. I don't know who is specifically, but I know that Art Ritchie with his wife, Steve Grierson with his wife, Chris O'Connor, Steve Rushfield's wife, all had participated in the counseling agency.
What agency?
Their counseling agency.
Oh, counseling agency.
And now, I don't know if they were funneling family court litigants into their counseling agency, but that, to me, would be a conflict.
But isn't that a conflict all by itself? I mean, let's say I'm the CEO of the Eighth Judicial Courts, and I have a counseling business on the side. Isn't that by itself is a
Isn't that a
conflict?
conflict of interest?
I don't know if that would be considered a conflict unless, like I said, they're funneling county or the
Or
judges.
requiring litigants to go to this counseling?
Right, when you go to court
Right.
and you have an issue, they say, well, you need, instead of jail time, whatever.
Right.
Or in the family court arena, they would send you to counseling.
Right.
And they would refer them to certain counseling agencies. Now, I don't have concrete proof that he was doing this, or the judges knowingly knew that they were referring people to his counseling agency, but it does make sense.
Do you think that his counseling agency was on a list that the judges have and they choose from that list?
Right.
Exactly. That I don't have concrete proof, but I imagine.
How do you get that list, Steve?
It should be on the judge's list. You can do
You
a
can.
FOIA maybe to get that list. Freedom of
Right.
Information Act.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Good luck with that.
But I want to know, Mr. Knickmeyer, I want to know how one person could take out that's $250,000 almost.
Right.
$200,000, and you say that used it for his counseling
Counseling
business
agency to start counseling.
to start it, and nothing happened to him?
Well, the judges were aware of it. Some judges, like Judge Bill Gephardt, was adamant that he should be charged.
Okay, and Judge Gephardt was a prosecutor in DA's office.
Right.
Okay.
And at the time, he was a justice of the peace before he became a district court judge. And he was livid.
He was upset about it.
Oh yeah, he was.
Okay.
He was very outspoken to a few people, and it became knowledge within certain circles
Right.
that this transpired. But Judge Tagliati.
Well, let's stick with Judge Gephardt for a minute. Do you think that Judge Gephardt went to the powers that be and maybe asked for an investigation, and they turned him down maybe?
He wanted some ass,
Okay.
but
And he just couldn't do it by himself.
right, because they're more concerned about their their public image, their PR. That's how they facilitate all these cover-ups,
Right.
because they don't want the rest of the world to know how messed up
The court is.
the system is and how mistakes are made, and instead of just fessing up and correcting the situation,
Cover-ups.
they cover it up.
So the judges are covering up a felony. Because that's what that is.
Yeah, well over $200,000.
It's a felony.
That's
Right.
true.
And what judges you say is aware of this? You were talking about Judge Tagliati a minute ago.
Judge-
He's retiring. Friday was her last day.
Yeah, good.
Are you saying good riddance?
Now she can come back as a senior judge and double dip.
Oh, so that's so double dipping.
Yeah, they're asking for more judges, but the senior judges who have retired, they come back and sit and.
Because they get the pension.
Oh yeah,
Plus
yeah.
the salary.
Plus the
Right.
salary,
So
and,
they
and
can
they
come
get.
back.
I always thought that judges served because they wanted to help people
community.
and the community and instill the law, because the law is their passion, and they want to make sure the law is
And
upheld to the highest standard and have fairness and make sure the community puts away bad people and good people, rise.
So what kind of King Arthur and Camelot do you live in? I just want to know.
So you saying that people become judges, or some become judges because of financial reasons?
Well, they can't make. They're all lawyers. When you really basically look at it, judges are lawyers.
They all belong to the state bar.
Right. And I don't hold lawyers in a very high esteem,
Okay?
because I think
I don't either.
our country is going down the tubes, and it has been for a long time. And the majority of the people who make those decisions have law degrees.
But there's a lot of good lawyers out there.
Oh, there are.
Yeah.
There are some outstanding,
Yes, that really care
and
about the
outstanding
community.
jurists.
Yes.
The whole system isn't bad. It's
Yeah.
just a few, and it's the few that have control who don't want like Judge Tagliati.
Right.
She doesn't want, during her tenure, she didn't want any bad PR.
And she was the chief judge.
And she was the chief judge.
So you say that Judge Tagliati knew about this missing $200,000 from stickers?
Absolutely, without a doubt.
So why did she come out of the district attorney's office as a prosecutor as well?
Yes.
So are we saying that there's something inside the district attorney's office itself? That this is-
No, the Steve Wilson is an outstanding district attorney. He has nothing to do with it.
So you're
Right.
saying they just didn't bring it to his office's attention?
I don't know what they did or what they didn't do, okay? I imagine they got wind of it, but politics in that building is just ridiculous.
Do you think Steve Wilson, he's the district attorney here, even has an idea of what's really going on?
I can't read, I don't know,
Oh,
But I imagine he had caught wind of it, but, you know, he has to.
What year was this, by the way, that this missing dollars came to fruition?
Between 2009, when Grierson took control,
Okay.
I left in 2013, sometime in between. I don't have a specific date. I don't have the budget paperwork. There's several people who were aware of this, no longer working for the courts because they knew too much.
Would we
Well-
get a
well-
copy of the budget paperwork, Steve?
We could. I had a meeting last night, and you were privy to that meeting as well. And I was told that that there's some type of executive committee that's made up of judges that voted to not make Grierson face prosecution, but instead have him pay back the money.
Right.
Who sits on this executive committee?
And why doesn't he have to face prosecution?
That's a good question. The RJC has a bunch of elected officials,
Okay.
the judges.
Right.
And like Steve Wilson, if he were to go after one of the judges, they would gang up against him and
Gotcha.
make his
Life miserable.
his future political career.
Oh,
They would put it in jeopardy.
right.
They have that.
You know, that's sad that
That is
that you
sad.
can't do the right thing because you have to walk on eggshells because you're scared that you won't get reelected.
That's basically that in a nutshell. That's why, you know, a lot of people, especially elected officials, won't go after the judges. You know, like the sheriff.
Uh-huh.
He won't go after the judges because the judges gang up and they do that. They circle the wagons and they'll make your political career a nightmare.
So we're saying that the judges have all the power and the rest of us are just peons to their game.
They have a control of the judicial system here in the southern part of the state, in the Eighth Judicial District. And they have a lot of power, political power. They have sobering, I mean, it's just unbelievable the political power that they muster.
No, I believe it. I've seen it.
Oh, yeah.
I want to know before we continue, Mr. Knickmeyer. I want to know who sits on this executive committee because you said it. I know in the meeting last night it was said that it was a unanimous vote not to prosecute Steve Grierson for the misappropriation of $200,000. Who sits on this committee?
Well, the chief judge
Which is at the
It
time.
was Richie, right?
no, Richie brought him in and gave him the position.
Okay.
But as far as I know, it was Judge Tagliati, Judge Timothy Williams, Judge Doug Herndon, and Susan Johnson, who headed up the security committee.
Okay. Well, I was told that this morning. I was told that Judge Williams had nothing to do with it. He came on the executive committee after the fact.
Well, Judge Williams, he's a good man, don't get me wrong.
Absolutely.
I think highly of him. But he's another one that will not go against the grain. He knew of all this, but he will not expose it because he would be jeopardizing his own political career as a judge. Because I went to him when I started experiencing problems, when they started coming after me for exposing certain misconduct.
Right.
And he basically sat there and said, Tom, they're pieces of shit, but I can't get involved. Those were his exact words. I will not get involved.
Because of his own political career.
Right, because if he went against the other judges, they would have had somebody run against them. That's the way they operate.
Do you think that's common practice in the RJC?
Oh, yeah, if there's a particular judge who doesn't stay with the plan or they call out another judge,
Right.
you're making the court system look bad. And you're making it like,
So it's all about image. It's not about right and wrong. Is that basically what you're saying?
right. They do not want the Eighth Judicial District Court to look bad, corrupt, or mismanaged.
Okay.
When one judge comes out and says a certain thing about another judge and their misconduct, they're putting their political future at stake.
So you're saying, Mr. Knickmeyer, you mentioned a couple judges. What was the other judge that you said that was sat on this committee?
Okay, there's Judge Williams, Judge Herndon.
Why didn't Judge Herndon do something? Judge Herndon came out of DA's office as a prosecutor.
Right. Well, Judge Herndon's he's another political animal. Judge Herndon, he did some stuff that I know, that I have documentation.
I'm holding a lot of the documentation over here. Sorry.
Yeah, a lot of documentation where he took another judge's case.
Okay. What other judge did he take this case?
He took this case from Judge Villani.
Michael Villani.
Michael Villani. And it stemmed from Judge Mosley, JEA.
Right.
Judy Norman had a daughter who was convicted of multiple felonies and was given 2 5-year terms in the Department of Corrections to run consecutively.
This is a judge's daughter?
This is the judge's JEA's
daughter.
Right.
Okay.
And she knew Doug Herndon from days before because she was a court clerk before he became a JEA.
Right.
And she and Judge Herndon, or Deputy District Attorney Herndon at the time, had a lot of interaction because they were in the courts. You know, he was a prosecutor, he was in the courts, everybody's friendly. So when Villani gave her these 2 sentences, Judy Norman was livid. She was just beside herself. And a reason, I can understand that. You know, your daughter gets put away for 10 years before she's even eligible for parole. So she, through attorneys and through some of the people that she knew, harassed Judge Villani with motions of reconsideration, and Judge Villani said no. For some reason I'm not aware of, they made a motion for him to be recused from her case.
Okay.
So it was then transferred to Judge Herndon's courtroom. Now Judge Herndon, who was personal friends with Judy Norman, the defendant's mother, decided to run her case concurrent, which means she didn't have to do the back end of this the other 5 years. And to me, that's a big no-no. You know, you had a judge who gave her a lawful sentence. Mm-hmm. She deserved what she got. Okay? And he turned around and he said, no, we can run it concurrent. And on top of that, there was millions of dollars in restitution to be paid. He chopped that in half too. All because of the personal relationship she had.
Now, and I'm hoping someone will correct me if I'm wrong, but if you have a personal relationship with the defendant, shouldn't you not be allowed to even try their case?
You have to accuse yourself, don't you?
That was my understanding.
It's a conflict of interest.
So I'm
Right.
going
He
crazy.
didn't have a problem doing it. And me being
And we're still talking about Doug Herndon.
right. And me being in that department, listening to her constantly cry about her poor daughter in prison up there with some of the other notorious females who were convicted of serious crimes. It was pathetic. It kind of drove a wedge.
You heard the conversations between the mother and the judge?
No.
Oh.
Anytime there was something of a sensitive nature, she would walk into the jury deliberation room and shut the door.
Okay.
and have a conversation. She wouldn't,
So-
but she was there many a times. David Schubert, who was a DA, who was removed from the office in disgrace. He was the DA that basically said, yeah, the district attorneys don't have a problem with you changing her sentence.
Wow.
Okay, and you know, David Schubert would sit in our chambers multiple times. I don't know how many, hundreds of times. And they would have discussions about her poor daughter doing, 10 years for what she considered a white collar crime, and there's more people in jail who are doing more serious crimes and getting less time.
That's true.
But she stole.
So the punishment didn't fit the crime.
Well,
I mean, the punishment didn't fit the sentence.
When you're stealing millions of dollars from people, this was during the housing crisis, and she was a real estate broker or something like that, and she was taking the
clients' money.
taking clients' money, buying, new cars, all the toys, snowmobiles, jet skis, the whole 9 yards. She drives around in a Navigator, all brand new. And she was a young lady, she's very smart, very beautiful. She could have used her talents to do something positive, but she elected to get rich quick.
Okay.
And she got caught, and she was sentenced accordingly to what Judge Villani wanted. The constant harassment, that's the word I'm using,
Right.
like against Judge Villani, he had enough of it. And so he gave it to Judge Herndon.
Okay.
Now, Judge Herndon should have recused himself also because he had a personal relationship. I wouldn't call it personal, but they were friends.
Right.
Right, and I mean, right off the bat, isn't that a conflict of interest if you know them outside of it?
It is. So who else sat on this executive board?
Well, at the time, it was Tagliati. She was chief judge. And like I said, Tim Williams, Doug Herndon, Susan Johnson, and Tim Williams. See, that's
twice.
Yeah, well, he was a part of the Judicial Executive Committee, which is, to me, is a violation of the power. What do they call it? The separation of powers. You're judicial. They're hired to be judges, not to be executives and direct the courts and what they're supposed to do. That's up to the CEO. That's what he was hired for.
But you sure you got Tim Williams right? Because like I said earlier, I was told that he came in afterwards. He wasn't part of Judicial Executive Committee that voted to not prosecute Steve Grierson for the misappropriation of $200,000.
Do you think you could be getting conflicted sources of information, Steve?
Well, you know what? I don't know. All I know is at the time that I was experiencing my issues, he was part of the
Executive Committee.
The Judicial Executive.
So I just want to stay on topic. So you saying that this Judicial Executive Committee knew about this $200,000 felony that Steve Grierson, who was the CEO for the 8th Judicial District, stole from county dollars to give to his private entity to start a counseling business, and also use one of the employee workers to work on his counseling business during county time. So he had to give this money back.
They made an agreement somehow.
Is it written?
I don't know. No, they don't put anything on paper.
Because I would have did a Freedom of Information
No,
request.
they probably had a little powwow session and said, okay, we don't want to, make the courts look bad. Obviously, Grierson has juice. That's another topic, but they decided to make him pay it back. And from what I heard, he never paid it back. Mm-hmm. And Judge Betsy Gonzalez at the time was seeking his dismissal.
Okay.
That's when the county stepped in and made him a county employee who supervised the 8th Judicial District.
Why would the county protect the thief?
Because the county commission, they're not angels. They're not angels. you can go back to the G string till now. They all have their own agendas too. And like I said,
the G sting you're talking about when Commissioner Dario Herrera, Mary
all those
Johnson,
guys, right.
Edwin Kenny, and Lance Malone was federally indicted for taking bribes.
right.
I just said on the kind of.
I just said that so everybody could understand what you were talking about when you said
Right.
G sting.
Right. And the commission, and I don't know who exactly I have my suspicions, but I don't know for sure.
Why would this man? I mean, after that, why would he be allowed to stay in his position of authority?
What does he know?
Because
what dirt does he have on
that's
these people?
that's the
Who does
key.
he know?
Because Steve Grierson, from what I understand, had somebody in the IT department hack into the computer system of all the emails of the district court judges.
So you say
Who did we get this
you
from?
say the CEO of the Eighth Judicial District hacked into the emails of all the district court judges to get intel on them,
I wouldn't call it intel. I would call it dirt. Yeah.
to get
right.
dirt on them to use against them if they come after him. That is a very smart move. See, the counseling degree he has, apparently he's working for him.
Well,
Right.
he
I know what you know.
Is he
I know what
still
you
there,
know.
this Grierson guy?
Yes.
Right, and he's protected by the county
But is
commission.
he-
And the way to find out is, in order
He's
for
still
a county to get hired by the county, they have what they refer to as a PAR. It's a process by which they fund the position, so that whoever it is or whatever position it is, it's funded through the county. And whoever signed that PAR more than likely had something to do with Steve Grierson's misbehavior, misappropriations of funds, cover-ups of family court abuse.
Cover-ups of abuse.
Oh, classic example. Ron Fox. Okay, what he did.
Who's Ron Fox?
Yeah, who's that?
He was accused of groping Monica Contreras.
Oh, with Patricia Dunningen as a hearing master.
Right.
Hold on, let me finish
Now-
this off.
Ron Fox did not touch that woman. Okay.
How do you know?
Because she recanted.
But she won $125,000.
Was she pressured?
No, she was there for some reason.
But you know what? Why would she recant? Because there's a video of her when Ron Fox was
There's
telling
no
her.
video of
when Ron Fox was telling her, recant your story, and she wouldn't recant.
Right.
No,
is
because she was upset.
Okay.
You know, because she was there for a reason. Usually when you're going to family court,
What was
when
her
you're
reason?
with your child, that I don't know. But she was there for a reason. You don't just go to the courthouse with your child.
It was
for no
a
reason.
status check, is what I was told.
A status check.
Okay.
Apparently, maybe she thought her child would have been taken away from her. She was upset. She started saying he touched her, and he didn't touch her. I know Ron. Ron's a lot of things, but he's not.
But he was terminated from employment.
Oh, he was terminated. They gave her, from what I understand, $200,000
Right.
to cover it up. Same thing with Lieutenant Steve Rushfield when he choked out somebody in a restraint chair.
So Lieutenant Rushfield was a marshal as well.
He was the head honcho down there. He was
And
the
he
one.
choked out a litigant?
There was a young lady, I believe her name was Crystal Williams. She was represented by Ross Goodman.
Okay.
She was there. She became, I don't know what she became.
Erotic?
She
Emotional?
She had issues. They took her into custody. They brought her in the back and put her in a holding cell.
Okay.
Apparently, she was doing things. I don't know whether she was hitting her head against the wall
Right.
or whatever. But they decided to put her in a restraint
So she
chair
was
for her
self-harm?
own. Yeah, for her own safety.
Okay.
And all she can do was yell and scream. You know, what are you this? What are you that? You know,
Right.
you know what people call law enforcement.
Right.
Yeah, they
And-
posted that.
They were waiting to, I guess, transport her to the CCDC.
Okay.
Well, Lieutenant Rushfield comes in, you know, and sees her
Cursing
going
in her
off,
mouth,
right,
okay.
and grabs her and starts choking her
By the neck.
by the neck.
That's strangulation. That's a
Is
felony.
there
And-
video?
and
Is
it's-
there video of this?
And why
There
did
probably
he do?
is.
Yeah.
I mean,
There was a
seriously.
there was grand jury formed through the Department of Justice, and 3 of the marshals
So he grabbed her by the neck. I want to go back to the grab by the neck. What was he saying when he grabbed her by the neck?
He says, "This is my house, shut the fuck up."
His house.
His house.
So he's paying rent for the courthouse.
Wait, aren't we as taxpayers paying his
I thought
salary?
it was the people's
It's
house.
our house.
Well, that's exactly what he said.
He must be paying rent. He got a lease agreement or something?
Something written in stone? Check it out.
He had the backing of some of the
Okay.
judges within the family courts.
But he was indicted.
No,
He was never indicted.
no.
Choking, strangulation is a
No,
felony.
that was another payout, sign a non-disclosure agreement, and call it a day.
Did he
At
get
the
That'll
taxpayer's
cover it.
expense.
At the
Did he get
taxpayer's
terminated at least?
expense. No,
What? Yeah.
because
I don't know
he
this
worked-
story.
He was Steve Grierson's go-to guy in family court.
His lackey.
So it was all pat on the back, high five, and be
Well, I
on
don't
your
know
way.
about pat on the back, high five, but it was
Slap on
covered
the
up. He was
wrist.
allowed to keep his position until the pressure became
Too much.
and then Judge Sullivan, who's a respected judge down there.
Who's retiring, by the way?
I don't have any, I met him one time, he seemed like a very nice man.
You
Right,
like him?
but
He
Yeah,
seems
I've
alright.
heard
since
good things,
the judges, when they have their marshals, administration can't touch them.
Right.
So Judge Sullivan,
Took him under his wing.
right, they eventually stripped him of his power as lieutenant, and he worked for Judge Sullivan, even though, certain people wanted him terminated, he was protected. Eventually, he retired.
Who's the certain people that wanted him terminated?
Tell me this.
Well, Bob Bennett, he said he wanted him terminated, but
Who's Bob Bennett?
he was the security director at the time. He was brought in by Chief Judge Tagliati. That's another story.
Oh, you talked about that the last time you were on.
Yeah.
That took Bobby G's place when Bobby G was going to get
Yeah,
there.
Bobby G should have got the position,
Okay.
but they gave it to Bennett because of Judge Tagliati's connections with her father, and her father knew Bob Bennett from the days at the FBI, and he came in, and he was a total jerk.
You know something, Mr. Knickmeyer? It sounds like you know what you're talking about. I mean,
He
you've
knows
been
names, first and last.
you've been in the courthouse for 20 years, but other people would say that, hey, he's a disgruntled employee that left, but you know what? What you're saying is that there is nobody that's at the courthouse is going to come on this show that's currently at the courthouse that's going to come on this show and talk about all the corruption in the courthouse, because they'll immediately get what? Terminated, fired. So it takes somebody that's no longer there anymore to come on the show and talk about what's going on at the courthouse.
Well, there's
Correct?
other people who have gotten terminated, sued the county, received a settlement, but along with that settlement, they signed a non-disclosure
Non-disclosure.
form.
So they gagged them.
Yep.
Exactly, they can't talk bad about the court, so you ain't gonna get anybody a prior employee. Now, me is entirely different. They didn't offer me anything, they crucified me for stuff that I didn't do.
Why wouldn't they offer you something? Because you seem like a no nonsense type of guy.
That's,
I would want to shut you up too.
I agree.
I learned early on that I'm held to a higher standard,
Okay.
okay? I speak my mind, sometimes I'm not the most politically correct person,
Right.
and all the judges knew it. The DAs who became judges, they knew. I had personal conversations. I don't hold back. If I see, I'm gonna call a spade,
Right.
okay? And sometimes they don't like it. When, for example, Steve Moody.
Who is Judge Israel's marshal?
Bailiff, correct.
Okay.
Now, he was the lieutenant down at the RJC, and he was protected. He came from LAPD. He was adjudicated guilty of violating someone's civil rights. It's called a Brady violation. And he did 23 years. He came from the Rampart Division of the LAPD, That division alone had 70 officers indicted